Okay, well, let's just do analysis on Visa while we're at, because it is, and this is probably related to talking about the news is maybe converting the B shares into A shares. And again, I may not be getting that right. And so, and I will show that MasterCard is also down a little bit, maybe in sympathy, but
Mhm.
we can look at MasterCard for just a moment. But Visa, okay, that's falling below. What would you be doing if you bought here, or let's say even bought here? What would you be doing here now?
Well, I mean, those are two very different spots, right? In terms
Mm-hmm.
of how you have to protect yourself. Being down 2-3%, it's not like you're hitting a 7% level, necessarily from that purchase, but you are getting evidence that the trade isn't working, and while things can come in a little bit, this seems a little bit dramatic. This seems more like a failure, a breakout failure, as opposed to oh, it just needs more time, to base. I mean, with a break like this of the 50-day moving average line, and again, we'll see how it closes, but a lot of times that just requires more time in order to kind of finish itself out. And if it's going to require more time, then why kind of sit with it, as dead money during that time if you don't have any cushion. Now, if you have cushion, it's a different story. But even the 235.57 buy, that's 5 points of cushion on a $240 stock. That's not much, so that could easily be taken away. So I would probably be shying away from this right now, because and again, this was something that I thought was looking really good. Before, this was one of the top of my watch list, both Visa and MasterCard, even though they don't move that much. But with it moving this way, it just seems like something that's going to need more time, and I don't want to sit with something while it tries to figure out what it's going to do.
Now, MasterCard has done a little bit better when it
Yeah.
sort of broke out of its 405. This was another pattern. It just done a little bit better, stronger closes to start,
Mm-hmm.
and today's action a little bit better. So this one seems like the leader among these two companies, when
Yeah.
we talk about so this one is looking a lot better, but
And there's a big difference between getting support at the 21-day moving average line and falling below the 50. This one did have the opportunity for a little bit more cushion from that recent buy. You could have either gotten it at the 392.20 entry from that flat base, or the bounce off the 50-day moving average line, around around the same price at 390. So either of those, I think, would have worked. And I think this one would be a little bit easier to hold over Visa.
let's see here. The 10-year treasury yield, which had fallen in the pre-market, now I've got it actually the last time this is a little delayed, but the 10-year treasury yield is at 4.28. So it's rebounding. So we'll see how it goes. We had downside reversal yesterday. It looks like we have an upside reversal today. You can sort of see with TBT, how it's sitting towards the top of this range, a little bit like zero TNX. Zero TNX, the big gap up yesterday was like before the stock market opened, so we didn't really see it. If TBT had traded yesterday, it might have fallen to fallen back, popped up yesterday. I'm not seeing it.
Hey, Ed, did you guys look at UUP yet?
I was actually going there next. Is that
is really making a notable move today.
Yeah, so UUP moving out, and thank you, Ken. It's the highest in 10 months. So higher yields, higher dollar, those are drags on the market a little bit. And let's see how that, we're hitting resistance at the 50-day line with the Qs. The Qs are already above. The NASDAQ is hitting resistance. We're trying to bounce off, but it basically sold off from the open a little bit. Trying to bounce back. SPY, that's doing better. I'm not sure what kicked in here. Trying to think. I don't remember economic data being at 10 o'clock Eastern. Sometimes there is. I don't remember there being business inventories. Nobody's going to get excited about business inventories. But let's just see here. So the Dow is doing the best. That one sort of is powering higher. So that one is getting probably close up to, that is getting up to the above the 50-day line, at least DIA. So this one is a little bit delayed. So, but this is probably right at the 50-day line for that. S&P 500. right around the 50-day line. So a lot of fight there. NASDAQ, maybe just below. The yields really hit the growth stocks. IWM back above the 200-day line. So that's doing pretty well. Still well below the 50-day line, but I just want to do the check. And someone was asking about credit card debt and something with Visa and Mastercard. Well, one thing is that, just a reminder, Visa and Mastercard do not hold the debt on their thing. They don't get the benefit or the negatives from like you having to, with interest payments. That's all in issuer banks. American Express, Discover, Capital One, they hold the balances. And so if delinquencies go up, that's bad for them. But Visa and Mastercard, they make their money off of processing fees, cross-border fees. Obviously, if the consumer stops spending, there will be fewer of those fees. So yes, they would be hurt by that, but not in the same way that you would be with some of the other credit card companies.